missing towel while they're not.
Missing what?
The other guest.
I wonder where the other, oh, there it is, over there. Got it.
You got a table?
Yeah, I want to pull that table over here and give it some, the drums are going to go back there now. So, but I don't want to screw up. They have made it work.
Yeah.
Her layout.
I can do it. I can do it. I don't think I'm going to need it more. I'm going to do a little running back and forth here.
That's fine.
Just to get before we get started.
So we're restoring a couple of chairs that would be useful if somebody's here.
And it looks like Jim's moving stuff. So that chair that's got the jackets piled on it is, well, actually there's a bunch of chairs. You can move one over if you want to be a little. Want to remove that cymbal and a drum while you're doing things. Is this a permanent location?
Or painted. Yeah, I'm right up on it. Joseph's not here, that's weird. So they can hang out with you for a while.
Yeehaw!
Much as it's You okay if I put this over there at the other table?
I think I might.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to be here next week.
What?
I'll be here next week.
Okay. Let me know. You happy for that?
Yeah,
Bob, do you think
just for now. I'm gonna
Okay.
stand play.
We can certainly.
do you think Joseph knows where?
I told him I kind of checked my email just a few minutes.
To? Now, do you want me to start Facebook Live and the stream yet?
I started the stream actually.
Okay.
I just said, why not? Might as well have it going. Then I'm there and do a little fiddling here. You gonna just hold your guitar?
Yeah.
And I'm just moving it out of the way. And so it is on YouTube, that little camera up there. Wave. It's a 360 camera, but the 180 of it is the back wall right now. And then Jim's getting one, so it'll be on
Yeah, I'm
there
ready.
too. All right, ready? So
I am ready. I will press the big blue button. Oh, that's cool.
right in it. Coming. Stop things over here.
Okay. Starting live video. That's what it's telling me. Here we are.
Cat talk by Metamorph. Oh no, it's counting up. I was gonna say it's ending in 10 seconds. That would be good. So what actually, if you could do for me, Jim, is after I get started, 7/8, just make sure that we're getting a signal on it. Bring this down and bring this up. But then just kind of, and you can listen in. Just make sure that it's. So we're going to be technical, and it's fine for you to make a little noise. Actually, just play your guitar real quick. This is WOMM-LP, Burlington, Vermont. 105.9 is Rocket Shop. I'm your host, Bob Cahoon, and with me tonight is Evan David Warner.
Hello.
Evan, how you doing?
It's a pleasure to be here. How's it going?
Great. So I'm not the usual host. We're doing a little from the mixer to the host seat, so a little different than normal. We usually like songs so people can listen and see what you're all about.
Plenty of those. So.
And why don't you play your first song for us? What's it called?
Sure. This song's called Green and blue. I see heaven in the morning. I kiss the sun and I leave my worries behind. Matter of time until I close my eyes forever. Green and blue. I see heaven in the morning. You should know you're all past perfect. Resonate to reach the surface. Now I'm truly alive. I wanna feel this way forever. Green and blue. I see heaven round the corner. Green and blue. I see heaven in the morning, me and you. I kiss the sun and I leave my worries behind. Matter of time until I close my eyes forever. Green and blue. I see heaven in the morning.
In Blue by Evan David Warner.
Thank you.
So, start out with, where do you find your inspirations for songs, in particular this one? Is this
Yeah.
written from personal experience? Is this about something or somebody in particular? Or
Well, it's I was going through some stuff when I wrote it. Of course, like songwriters kind of use it as a way to cope. But I wanted it to be kind of lighthearted because it's a heavy song, just about finding peace in the morning, like remembering that there's always a tomorrow, and you see heaven in the morning and you realize, hey, I'm alive. This is great. So it was kind of like when I wake up in the morning, it's a nice bright sunny day. I see big green mountain and in a nice blue sky. But in a more just really like I was in my DAW, my little Logic session,
Yep.
and I noticed that the bars were green and blue, So, you know,
It kind of all came together.
right. So it all just kind of came together, and I really like, you know, messing around with like colors and tastes, and you know, like the flavor of a song and how a song looks in someone's mind's eye. I really like to paint that picture, literally. You know what I mean? So Green and Blue was green and blue. The song is green and is blue together.
Are you going to start a whole series of colors of the palette, the palette of Evan David Warner?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
I wrote a song called Pink, White, Orange, Green.
Okay.
So there's 4 down, and green and blue there's 6. So
Wow. When you start running out, just get out that box of 60. It's up for a long time.
exactly, yeah.
You'll have the chartreuse and salmon.
Right,
mix, right?
right. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's really fun. You know, I just like to not take myself too seriously with the songwriting, and the ideas come faster that way. You know.
And how long have you been songwriting?
I've been songwriting since I was very little, and it started stories, like kind of like nursery rhymes, but you know, some of them were about my sister. You know, she's smelly. She's got a yellow belly. I remember that was 2nd grade, and it was just, you know.
And have you turned it into a Bandcamp single yet?
It's on the way.
It's on the way. So when you were writing them as a kid, did you have the music in mind, or was it really more of a song
Right.
thing?
Well, I always had the admiration for so many, you know, classic rockers and, you know, pop stars and whatever, crooners, just as a kid, Beatles as well. But it really was just, I was just supposed to write a song because I felt like writing a song. I mean, that was basically it. You know, there wasn't, it didn't go farther than that until I realized, oh, this is really what I want to do, and I'm getting better at, you know, perfecting a song. But I didn't really feel that way until, you know, because I was still, you know, working out the kinks.
Right. Songwriting is something that you have to sit down and do, or do these songs come to you, or, you know, I mean, is this a deliberate attempt?
It's
attempt, but a
always
deliberate.
deliberate. It definitely is always deliberate. Like I sit down and I have a think tank kind of session where I just brainstorm, but I'm constantly inspired. Constantly inspired. And, you know, there's so many avenues for songs. You know, you could write like a silly little love song, or you could write, you know, something about nothing and it means everything to somebody else, you know. So it's always, you know, I always sit down with the intent to write a song and generate some ideas, whether it becomes a full song or not, these weeks, whatever years.
And how many iterations do you have to go through with a song? Do some of them come out whole, or
Sometimes
and then you kind of have to come put them aside and come back to them?
You know, it changes. I think the ideas go through me as if I was like an antenna or something, or like a receiver.
The conduit.
So it always changes. It always changes. But most of the times there's an idea, and then it takes time to develop it into a full thing. And sometimes I go to a producer and they help me out, and I really try to get second opinions. But then there's other times where it's just magic in a bottle, you know, and I just shock myself.
Just
like, oh,
happens.
there it is. Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's a good segue into one of the questions I wanted to ask. You traveled to Amsterdam, collaborators, and record.
Yep.
Can you tell
and
me
my
a little
girlfriend lives there too, and she's probably listening. Lotus,
Hello, Lotus.
love ya.
You're up late, but it's worth
Yep.
it. So so was she in Amsterdam first, and then you traveled there, or?
Yeah, so
okay.
it was like, you know, I went over there to scope it out and meet her family, and it was kind of like a holiday thing. And then I started going to college, and it was all right. I liked college. I was studying music, but I really wanted to do study abroad. And so I decided to combine, you know, my personal life and my aspirations to be a musician into one, go over there on college exchange.
Okay.
And that's where I met, you know, my Mark, who is my manager, owns an independent record label, and we've been working together ever since, about 2 years.
I find that, I mean, what does traveling abroad to a different country, and how does the music industry or scene or just vibe differ over there from here? I mean, Amsterdam's
Yeah.
certainly a bigger city, so there's
Right.
that aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
there's
but is there,
more
is there
a
sort
scene.
of is there something else beyond just a size difference?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, culturally, you know, you get. I mean, you know, Vermont's full of like hippies and folk festivals and you know farmers markets and of course college scene as well. But it's relatively small, you know, and it's kind of in house more or
Mhm.
less. And you get like Western mass groups or whatever, but it's game. Anything's game. I mean, you can walk into a bar and they're doing drag karaoke, and it's like, great, this is a hell of a night. Or you can walk down the street and there's a punk rock band in an, or you know, there's like the wildest EDM you've ever heard at like 210 beats per minute. It's just crazy.
And that would kill me.
Yeah.
So have you traveled to other cities in Europe too, or
I've traveled to other cities in the Netherlands.
in the Netherlands? Okay.
And I went on a holiday to Croatia, and there's some, you know, cool traditional music there.
Mhm.
But, you know, mostly just stayed in Amsterdam and explored that scene.
And is Amsterdam sort of a hotbed,
I would say
or
so.
do you think it's, you know, one of the major big cities, so that?
I mean, I have a lot of exploring, but for me,
Mhm.
based on, you know, I immediately just compared it to Vermont and Burlington. I was like, wow, this is larger. You know, there's, so
Flatter.
flatter, way flatter. But
And a lot of bicycles, right?
mostly bike. They're trying to get rid of all petrol vehicles by 2030.
Wow.
And, you know, they got carbon taxes up the
Mhm.
wazoo and the plastic bans up the wazoo, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly bikes. I biked to all my gigs over there and would show up and have all my
Mhm.
stuff ready to go. And met a
Okay.
lot of musicians just cruising around on my bike.
So have most of the recordings done that have been studio recordings been, or have you?
A lot of them have been written in Amsterdam.
Okay.
Some of them are recorded, I know my label is, and then some
Mhm.
were recorded just in my bedroom, demoed in my bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the stuff that I'm working with now was kind of being demoed there, and now it's being finalized here.
Okay. Do you think you'll record here, or will you go
Oh yeah.
back over and
Oh yeah. Just wherever I can. I'll record.
wherever you are?
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So you ready to play us another one here?
Sure.
What do you have?
Well, let's see. There's this. There's a lot of songs I've been working on that is kind of more like a punk song with an edge.
Okay.
Hope I can
Is
remember
this
what it is.
a newly written song?
It is. It is.
Great.
It's called Japan, off the press.
There you go.
I just watched like an hour-long like glimpse of Japan's natural wonder, where they just have a helicopter flying through, and I was like, huh.
Kind of like those
I like
PBS
that.
shows of flying over
Yeah.
each state, kind of.
Yeah, it was
thing.
like Nova, but you know, an eastern place. This is Japan.
Great. Thank you.
Thousands of miles, but there's no time. Years going by, yet you're not mine. Change all my style. Open my heart to your sunrise, to your sun. Japan,
right, that way Evan did one. Place you want to travel to from in person?
I would love to. I mean, I would love
To me, it's a
travel.
fascinating place.
Right. I mean, lots of culture to explore. You know, I have no idea personally.
Very different.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen there, I mean, just some of the scenes are just so foreign to me. The whole concept of we're going on the subway and it's rush hour and we have people with white gloves to push you in.
Yeah.
Just blow up, right?
No, it's so different. It's Japan from an outside perspective. You know, gadgets, gizmos, earthquakes. Look into Japan because there's so much more, but empirically,
And that's what we see on the surface, on the outside.
right. So check it out. See what's going on.
Just from watching a...
Kind of had it. You know, I wrote down in writing a song. On Japan. It's like let's and.
Perfect. So that has not been recorded yet.
No, I'm working with a little band in Winooski,
Okay.
and it's something that we have been playing with. So
So a
In
little
time-
band meaning 4-piece,
right,
traditional guitar,
Yeah.
drums, bass.
yeah, a little rock
Thing.
band.
So that might be a rock tune.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not really meant for the acoustic, but it works.
No, it certainly does. It certainly
Yeah.
does. So is this little band an official band yet, or?
It's official. You know, it's just everyone's in the middle of finals.
Gotcha.
You know, school always gets in the way of making music, or you go to school for music.
Right. Yeah, you have actual assignments that you need.
Right.
Right.
Like our bass player is a jazz head, and so he's got you know a lot of finals coming up, so he has to put off his music for his music, you know,
Right.
constantly.
So summertime, do you think you'll all free up a little bit? Are these
Oh,
people
yeah.
local enough that you can be doing some things over the summer?
Yeah, there's some really exciting opportunities for us coming up. There's
Mhm. And can we name this band? Or not yet?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No.
Well, you'll just what the secret is. Okay.
We threw some names around. Yeah, we were thinking like Tempo Tiempo. We were thinking like the Goons, the Trucks.
So you haven't settled on a name, first of all.
No, we just came up with a lot of silly ideas, you know, and
That's one of the harder things to do because you're
Right.
somewhat stuck with it.
you know. It's-
Well, it can,
It-
but
it
but
definitely
then
can.
it might not help you.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and everyone keeps taking up all the good.
Yeah. Might as well just take someone else's.
But that's kind of like saying all the good songs have been written. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's certainly not true. Every year there's more.
Right.
So there's another question for you. Is you guys seem to have a wide range of influences musically.
Oh
you,
yeah.
You mentioned Pink Floyd, Anderson .Paak, Tame Impala.
Mhm.
As you grew up listening to a lot of different music, or where does that
Well,
come from?
I think when growing up, I was only listening to like bands like Kiss, and I was listening to a lot of Beatles. So the personification of each character in the
Mhm.
band was something that I really was attached to for a long time.
In a stage show.
In a stage show way, in like
Right.
a arena life recording session way, like
Mhm.
the Beatles. But as time went on, I kind of realized like, oh, there's a lot more out there, and just started dipping my toes in different genres, and immediately drawn to funk. You know, like when I discovered Bowie, I heard Fame, and I was like, oh, that's funky. And then I really discovered what funk was as I dug deeper, and I was like,
Then
oh,
you
it's
discovered what
beyond-
Bowie was listening to.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it never ends, you know. And I love all music. I used to be anti-pop, but
Mm-hmm.
not anymore. I embrace all. Look it all up, you know.
Good pop can be great.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, any genre has its, I don't know, things that maybe aren't the dud here and there.
Yeah. Well, it's all timing and the place, you know. Like jazz works
Mhm.
in most spots, unless you're trying to fist pump all night, you know. In which case.
Yeah, if you're looking to bounce up and down, maybe not in jazz.
Right. But everything stems from jazz, which is
Mm-hmm.
and blues, which is neat, but you know.
And so you're studying music in college too,
Yeah.
and what specifically, specialization?
Well, I've bounced around, always performing, but I really am into, the technical side as well, audio engineering. I have a lot of friends who are into that,
Okay.
and I'm just scratching the surface, I'm just, preoccupied with my instruments, and now it's like, oh, and analog gear helps bring the whole vision to life, and I really want to be in control of that.
So you think you're really going to focus on the engineering technical side
Yeah.
for a college degree? I mean.
At least enough so I can, dictate what I want in the
Mhm.
studio if I'm working with another engineer, and I have the terminology, the vocabulary, and the know-how to really make it come.
Seeing that already show up in when you go in to record, that wow, I know more, like you said, more what to ask and what to
Right.
ask for, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
definitely. I mean, just by doing it,
Mhm.
a little bit better each time.
Mhm.
You're always learning.
Yep.
So
And do you harder to record your own stuff or somebody else's? Or neither?
I haven't really been faced. Well,
I
it
don't know how
depends
much
on the
recording you've
artist.
done.
If
Oh, right, yeah. Anybody.
friend who produced ODB,
Mhm.
Old Dirty Bastard, and he would just pee on everything, and you
That
can't
doesn't
really get
sound like
much
fun.
done with someone like that.
Kind of ruins the equipment too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So.
But in terms of musically, do you need to distance yourself from your own music when you're going to record it a little bit to be able to say,
Yeah.
sometimes when I say it's a little hard sometimes to say no to yourself.
Right.
When
Oh, totally.
you don't want to throw there, and sometimes you have to remove.
And sometimes I'm not the one who can see that, and so
Right.
to step back,
Mhm.
have someone else take a look at it, it's totally necessary. Totally
Right.
necessary. So, I'm sure I'll be met with that situation more than once in my life, if I
Mhm.
keep going down this road. But that's the one thing that just this year I've learned is like being able to let go a little bit, but still have, the creative control, but when someone else can give you feedback, criticism that's going to improve the song for the masses,
Mhm.
when you're so attached to something, it's kind of like the whole love is blind idea, And someone may think, just change this one note and it's going to be so much better. So,
Right.
no, I put that note there.
Couple words
No,
maybe.
you
or
can't
something.
change that the to and, but
Yep.
I'm realizing more and more that it's the big picture,
Mhm.
It's just step away, don't worry.
And does that so I assume that's happening in your band a little bit.
It does. I mean,
Are you the songwriter mainly for this band, or is it are there
We,
other people
uh,
bringing stuff in, or?
other people are bringing stuff in, definitely, and we try to piece together, if one person has an idea in A, and my idea is in C or whatever, it's like, oh, we'll just transpose one, and then we have a A and a B. So we try to be as democratic as possible because it's the only way to maintain sound in a band, and also finances when one has their equal share and their equal say, and history. If you look in the old archives, you'll see that more often than not, there's a lot of beef between people who are better.
Bands implode for many different reasons,
Yeah.
and creative differences is one of them. But
Right.
sometimes it's. And so, are you writing the lyrics for these songs?
Right now, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that ball is in my court
Okay.
officially.
And does the song start with a lyric, or does it start with? Does somebody bring in music and you start thinking about what does that music make you think of?
It's different
bit of
every
both.
time. It's a little bit of both. Sometimes I'll come in with half a song. Okay, cool. Let's just finish it up. Maybe write a bridge and call it a day. Other times it's like, I just have one word. Like with Japan, it was me and my bandmate. Interesting. Let's look up a documentary and see where it takes us. And we just talked.
What a
and-
great way to to find a song.
Right.
Thing, right?
So, it just goes back to like, there's always inspiration everywhere. It's just perspective,
Yeah.
Like if you want to write a song about that candle over there, well, call Elton John. You got a candle in the wind. Just take the candle outside or whatever. I don't know
Right.
this. That's the way I see it.
Mhm.
I always put myself in the position where I'm not passive. I'm actively looking for inspiration, even in a setting where it seems like there's nothing. Like you just got to look around for that little shimmer, and
Sometimes
what's
you're
going to
just
spark.
standing
through.
around or sitting around waiting for
Right.
something else to happen, but there's
Yeah.
always something going on. And so, do you play just, or do you
No.
play what other?
play bass.
which is a form of a guitar,
Right.
And-
less
and you-
strings.
and then drums. So in the band,
Yeah.
mainly the guitar.
Mainly the guitar. Sometimes I just take the axe off and grab the mic
And just sing.
and just sing. I really prefer it that way.
Okay.
But you know, I'm happy I can accompany myself. You know, so
Yeah, well, and it's a good way to write songs, I assume.
oh, definitely.
And do you use any other instruments to help you write songs, or is it really mainly the guitar? Or?
I've done some stuff with piano.
Okay.
But I'm not really, you know, I'm working on my chops on piano. It's been something that I've always wanted to get better at, so in time.
It's an easy instrument to play chopsticks on.
Yeah.
But then there's a long way to go from there, right?
Oh, it's a long, long way to go.
I can play the Jaws theme. That's about it.
Smoke on the Water covered, you know, on the Black Keys.
Yep, right.
But, you know, like that Green and Blue song, that I was sitting at grandfather's grand piano, the Triple G.
Okay.
And it was Christmas dinner, and I was just goofing around trying to be jazzy, you know, and all of a sudden, there's this melody that just came out of nowhere, and it just smelled like Christmas, you know, and I just ran with it, and I just didn't forget that one little riff, and I was playing keyboard, and then suddenly, 2 hours later, there it was.
Do you carry a rock or a phone, or I mean, how do you, when these
Yeah.
ideas strike, how do you not?
Sometimes they are lost. There's a lot of lost ideas, you know, and they're great ideas, and I honestly need to be more strict with writing stuff down, but most of the time I just carry around a little journal.
Okay.
And when I forget it and I have a great idea, I always kick myself, or I'm like, come on, save it, come on, don't forget
It'll
this
come
one."
back. It'll come back.
Right, but and you know, it probably will.
Mhm.
It probably won't.
You never know.
There's plenty
Maybe
of
it's
fresh
just
ones
in there
and-
percolating for now.
Yeah,
It'll
it's,
come out.
it's kind of a gamble every time, and that's the best part of song. Like, you have to have a certain fascination with life to write good songs, and like that fascination
Right.
is what just breeds like, oh, this I feel lovely. Let's write a song. I feel lovely today. You know, something as simple as that. And you look outside and you're like, oh, this is nice weather. Let's write a song about something entirely different. You know.
Okay. So you came out with was it a full album in 2017? Or would you call it, I don't know if you call it, what's a full album, what's an EP anymore, but.
Yeah, the Green and Blue came out recently, and then there's a Going to Atlantis project.
Okay, that's what I saw.
Yeah, and
And that was.
like my prototype.
Okay.
That was my being in a studio,
Mhm.
and of course I've seen documentaries on the greats working in there, and I was just in a little like dorm room. It still felt like I was in Abbey Road, you know. I just took
Right.
it so, and those were some of the first songs I ever wrote. And you know, for a prototype, I think it's not half bad, but you know, looking back, it shows my, you know, my.
Can always
my
go back and
adolescent
redo some of
phase.
those songs.
Oh, absolutely.
And so do you think the next bigger release you'll have is with this band? Or.
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. I mean, right now I'm producing and arranging, composing, everything on my own. Anything you hear on Spotify,
Okay.
I'm doing all the instruments, and it's being mixed and engineered by somebody else. But I'm hoping we can get this band together in the summer and come out with a full music.
Okay.
I had another group in Massachusetts, recorded a full EP in this beautiful studio, and we're just waiting on the mix.
So things could start popping out soon.
Things are always popping out.
Yeah.
You know.
So do you release a lot of singles by yourself,
Yeah.
and do you find that's sort of the way they come out, and they're ready to come out as a single, or do you ever stop and, you know, and what makes you decide this is a single, or I need to put something together as a group of songs?
I guess, you know, you have to have a certain amount of, and then you can listen to all of them in order and think, oh, do any of these accidentally tell a story? That's kind of the way I think about it. I have concept albums, and I haven't approached it like that yet, where I'm like starting now about a dream I had 3 years ago or whatever, and I'm going to go into detail. No, it's more like, if I have 8 finished songs, 4 songs can be one EP, and what 4 songs can be another.
Okay.
You know, that's kind of the way I approach it.
Okay. So, we're getting near to the end of our time here.
Wow.
Before we finish with a few songs,
Yeah.
plug some social media. Are you playing anywhere locally, or even not locally, but are you playing anywhere where people can come see you?
Yeah, in July. I'm going to be at the Bean, the Radio Bean.
Okay. Do you know the specific date on that? Or?
I believe it's July 15th
Okay.
or so. I think it's a Friday.
That's
Friday
pretty precise, so that's good.
Yep. And it's, you know, I show up with my little loop, so you get a full band feel.
So do you build these loops as you go, or are they pre?
Some of them are pre-made. Some of them I build as I go.
Mhm.
It's more fun when you build as you go, and the audience gets very, very.
I
psyched.
think that's an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah,
You know?
it's like Reggie Watts.
Yep.
It's kind of like that, except, you know, less
Right.
less scatting.
A different style is all.
Yeah,
But I've seen several looping things, and I'm fascinated by it personally.
yeah, it's so much fun.
It's so much fun. And then, where can people find you online? Find your music?
It's Evan David Warner on all social media platforms. Spot, Facebook, Instagram. It's all Evan David Warner.
Okay.
Just first, middle, last.
Sounds great. And a real pleasure talking to you. Why don't you play us a couple more songs before you go? You can introduce them. You can introduce one, stop and introduce the other, whatever you want to do here.
Pleasure's all mine.
Great.
Thank
you.
I'll play the song that's released.
Okay.
There's going to be a single released on Spotify. It's called Shine to Share.
Shine to Share.
And, you know, it's funky.
Right.
Can't find no word, can't do no right. I wanna see the world, give me peace of mind. Better is a force of truth, frequency, animate and move. Cause I'm on the edge, all alone. I got the courage to overcome all the obstacles. Shine to share, shine to share. Cause I'm on the edge, all alone. I got the courage to overcome all the obstacles. Shine to share, shine to share. Oh Lord, what you do to me when I groove machine? Sing my heart to sleep. Dream of all the sweet loving you can give to me. All the sweet loving you can give to me. All the sweet loving you can give to me. All the sweet loving. On the edge, all alone. Hey, I got the courage to overcome all the obstacles. Oh, cause I'm on the edge, all alone. Got the courage to overcome all the obstacles. Shine to share, shine to share.
That was Shine to Share by Evan David Warner. Would you like to play one more for us, or?
I suppose.
I offered you
I
to
would
do
love
two. That'd be great.
Cool.
I'm getting a little bonus track here.
Well, let's see here.
A little pressure to pick one out.
It's another unreleased track. Probably the next single. So this is a big sneak peek.
There you go.
But
you know this does become a podcast, right?
oh yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. That's fine.
Great. Hey, people stumble upon it and come up and see you and say, "Hey, I just heard this."
Yeah,
That's the best.
that's lovely. I want that.
Exactly.
This one's called "Moving to the." I'm past the glass, I am a road. Been schooled, been fooled, been ridiculed, like my back. Leaving home, oh so dark on the highway now. Spot that dot, exhale that cloud. Gotta go, can't get precious time, but she dead and gone. Moving to the city. Moving, yeah. I think stay a while, yeah. Moving to the city. Moving to the city. I wanna stay a while. Asphalt, concrete, twilight, skyline. I'll be there when the sun rises. Whole lot of love in your eyes, taking me back to the love light. Take me down, gridlock, get lost, away from all the pressure and the pain. Same at the home base, so I'm just moving to the city. Moving to the city. I think stay a while, yeah. Moving to the city. Moving to the city. I wanna stay a while. Chase the doors. City don't sleep, so alive when I arrive. Oh, like a waking dream. I can pick you up and I can set you free. Free, free. Oh. Moving to the city. Moving to the city. I think I stay away to the city.
Well, thank you again, Evan David Warner, been our guest tonight on Rocket Shop Radio Hour. Been a wonderful visit with you. Next week, I think Rocket Shop's taking a much needed hiatus. We've been going gangbusters for quite a few weeks here. We'll be back May 22nd with the Larkspurs. I've been your host, Bob Cahoon, and good night. See you soon. Cool. Okay, and we're back to the regular performance. That was
fun.
great. Thank you so much.
I had a wonderful time.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and you were great guest. Didn't have to draw too much out.
Right.
That's awesome for me, especially.
That's
since
what I was
I'm the
nervous
norm.
about. This is just me being like, well, but
You did wonderful.
cool.
You really did.